The Mandela effect is as much of a talking point now as it was in 2010, when paranormal researcher Fiona Bloom coined the phrase to describe the phenomenon of collective false memory. New cases seem to be popping up almost daily, leaving people wondering whether they have faulty memories or if something more sinister is at play. Number 10. Mars is also known to us by the name the Red Planet, but not many people know that it isn't actually red. It merely appears to be, thanks to the abundant iron minerals that are present in its atmosphere, coupled with dust from its surface, and in reality it's a dull brown color. While the planet is completely uninhabitable, researchers and experts are hopeful that we will be able to terraform it one day, making it possible for humans to live and thrive there. In fact, we believe that it may once have been habitable, since we found evidence that Mars used to contain water, and that its atmosphere used to be much thicker than it is today. Thanks to the rovers that scientists have sent to Mars, it's believed that the basic elements needed for life do actually exist on Mars, though they would have to have been present billions of years ago, and we don't know whether the planet ever actually contained any life forms. The largest crater on the planet measures about 1,400 miles in width and has been named Hellas Planitia. We've also observed that some volcanoes on the planet seemingly resulted in mud flows, suggesting that whatever hit it, such as an asteroid, impacted with such force that it exposed underground water, or possibly ice that then melted. Mars has two moons named Phobos and Deimos, which were first observed by Asaph Hall, an American astronomer who made the discovery in 1877. He named the two moons after taking inspiration from Ares, the Greek goddess of war, and the names mean fear and rout. One of the reasons that make the planet uninhabitable is the cold temperatures that it experiences, thanks to being so much further away from the sun than the Earth is. On average, the temperatures on Mars are around 80 degrees Fahrenheit, but we've observed temperatures dropping to minus 195 in certain areas. Much of the planet still remains a mystery to us, and back here on Earth, it's part of another mystery, the Mandela effect. Many people remember being taught in school that Mars is much bigger than Earth is, and they've now realized that this is a false memory. Earth's diameter measures just around 8,000 miles, while Mars's is almost half that, measuring just over 4,200 miles. One Redditor stated that they do a lot of research about space and other planets, and that they were always of the opinion that Mars was the larger planet. When they found out that they were wrong, they spent some time looking through their research material and textbooks, only to find that Earth is indeed bigger. This has left a lot of people perplexed, since they were under the same misapprehension. One commenter stated that he always thought he had a pretty good mental picture of the size of each of the planets in our solar system, but has now been disillusioned since he realized that he's been wrong for decades. Another went as far as to state that every time he hears about the size of Mars, it seems to have gotten smaller somehow, and others added that they believe something strange is causing these changes in the universe. Number 9. Coolio is probably best known for his hit song Gangster's Paradise, which was released in 1995 when it featured in the movie Dangerous Minds, which proved to be a massive success. He's seen as a true icon of hip-hop culture, since his unique style had quite an impact on the genre, and since he's said to have had a great stage presence during his live performances. He's also been nominated for 6 Grammy Awards and walked away the victor on one occasion. During his career, he collaborated with other giants in the genre, the most notable being late Tupac Shakur and Snoop Dogg. But he also tried his hand at acting when he appeared in the Batman and Robin movie. He also made some TV appearances, most memorably on Celebrity Big Brother. Furthermore, not many people know that he is the author of a cookbook called Cookin' with Coolio, 5-star meals at a 1-star price, and that he once appeared on the TV shows Cupcake Wars and Celebrity Cook-Off, proving that he has a true love of food and all things culinary. Having lived a life that most of us will be unfamiliar with, he's toyed with the idea of releasing a memoir that would give fans a closer look at certain events in his life, specifically his journey through the music industry. But Coolio's influence didn't only touch the music industry. He's known to be a philanthropist who encourages positive change in the world. He's helped organizations that focus on education, community development, and youth programs in an effort to help young people forge a better future for themselves, especially in less privileged areas where gang violence is a very real concern. Thanks to his contribution to the music world, he's been awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, ensuring that his legacy will live on for generations to come, and that his music will be remembered for a very long time. But recently, Coolio has been the subject of some speculation online, since his most famous song, Gangsta's Paradise, is thought to have suddenly changed thanks to the Mandela effect. The mystery surrounds the song's lyrics, which most people are familiar with, since the song was a huge sensation at the time when it was released. But many people are now doubting their own memories, as they're finding out that they've been singing along with erroneous lyrics. Many people remember the words to the song's chorus being, "We've been spending most our lives living in a gangster's paradise," only to find out that the actual lyrics are, "been spending most their lives living in a gangster's paradise." They claim that this change has completely altered the meaning of the song, and that they're now certain that it's been recently changed. But a closer look at the song reveals that he's actually talking about young people in his community, rather than himself, and only in the second half of the chorus does he refer to our lives rather than their lives. Some people have suggested that the misconception is due to a version of the song that was performed by Weird Al Yankovic, which is a parody called Amish Paradise, or that he may have included different lyrics while performing the track live. In another Mandela effect mystery, some people remember Coolio passing away before 2015, and they're shocked to learn that he only passed away in 2022. Number 8. Outcast is made up of just two members called Andre 3000 and Big Boy, two well-known artists in the hip-hop genre. The duo first started their music careers when they were just 17 years old, signing to the LA Reid and LaFace record labels. They would go on to see a massive amount of success in the pop world, with their most popular song being Hey Ya, which was released in 2003 as part of their fifth album, which was called Speakerboxxx: The Love Below. This would also be their last album that the pair created together, since they each started working on different projects and eventually went their separate ways. But things weren't always as easy for the two artists. They initially wanted to call the group 2 Shades Deep, but were forced to choose a different name when they learned that it had already been taken by another group. They then decided to change their name to Misfits, but encountered the same problem, and ultimately they settled on Outcast, since it's a synonym for misfit. It also wasn't always the plan for the two to perform together, or even to enter the music world at all. After graduating from high school, Big Boy had plans of becoming a child psychologist by studying the subject at NYU, but fate had other plans in store. The pair did have some help reaching the heights that they did during their careers. Andre 3000 received some musical guidance and advice from Zafar Salik Saud, who not only wrote some music with Michael Jackson, but also played guitar for Lionel Richie before his band became the Commodores. Before they became the well-known artists they are today, the two had to come up with a few clever plans to get their careers started. And in one instance, they decided to raise money for time in a studio by selling illegal substances to supplement the income they were making as shoe salesmen. But luckily, they never had to resort to this plan, as they were signed before it got to that stage. It also isn't common knowledge that Andre 3000 played every instrument that can be heard on the track Hey Ya, except for the bass guitar, proving that he truly is a versatile musician and talented artist. While this is undoubtedly their most played song, it's closely followed by Mrs. Jackson, a song that's now said to have been affected by the Mandela effect, and as with so many other songs, it centers on the lyrics. Most people seem to remember a section of the lyrics being "I'm for real, never meant to make your daughter cry, I apologize 1,000 times." But they're now finding out that what they actually sang was "I'm for real, never meant to make your daughter cry, I apologize 1,000,000,000 times." While this may have taken many people by surprise, many others have stated that they've always remembered the lyrics the correct way, and that this must merely be a case of thousands of people mishearing the words, as is the case with thousands of songs. Strangely, the song Hey Ya is also mentioned in Mandela effect threads, but far less than Miss Jackson, since that case only has to do with the number of Hey Yas that are sung in a particular section of the song. Number 7. When the film E.T. the Extraterrestrial was released in 1982, it took the world by storm, not only because of its portrayal of a friendly alien that's left behind on Earth after he and a group of alien scientists travel to our planet for research purposes, but also because it was a family-friendly movie that tugged on the heartstrings. While the man who created the E.T. prop was a well-known designer who'd worked on films like Alien and King Kong, the alien's voice artist was discovered merely by chance. At the time, Pat Walsh was a housewife who happened to be browsing in a camera store when the movie's sound designer heard her voice and immediately knew she was the right person to voice E.T. It was also the first major movie that Drew Barrymore played in, and she landed the role when she was just 7 years old. Remarkably, she was asked to play the role after auditioning for the horror movie Poltergeist, which was created by Steven Spielberg, the director of E.T. Following her audition, Spielberg felt that she wouldn't be a good fit for the horror movie, but that she would do much better in E.T. He was undoubtedly correct, since Barrymore has since become one of the most famous actresses in all of Hollywood. Not many of the film's fans know that Harrison Ford originally played a part in the movie. He played Elliot's principal and only had a small amount of screen time, but he would ultimately be left out of the movie altogether, as his scenes didn't make it into the final cut. Following the success of the movie, Spielberg planned to create a sequel that would have been called E.T. 2, Nocturnal Fears. The plot would have been that Elliot and his friends get kidnapped by a race of different aliens, prompting E.T. to return to Earth to help. Spielberg revealed that this movie would have revealed E.T.'s real name as being Zarek, but it never came to fruition. Spielberg has also revealed that the film would have originally been called A Boy's Life, and that this was only changed while the movie was being produced. When all was said and done, the movie raked in a massive $792 million around the world, and spawned one of the most iconic lines ever, which was E.T. phone home. Most people who've seen the E.T. film remember E.T. saying this line when asking if he could contact his home planet, but that simply isn't the case, since he only spoke those words later on in the movie. Most fans remember E.T. pointing his finger aloft while it glows and delivering the line, but the truth is that he said E.T. home phone. The line was then corrected by the two children, who say E.T. phone home. But he does, however, say the exact line later in the movie, when it's revealed that he's still alive, but in that instance, he doesn't hold his finger aloft in the trademark manner. Some sources state that the alien never said the line at all, but many others have pointed out that this is also incorrect. While most people will remember E.T. as the alien that became a household name in the 1980s, others will forever be left wondering whether they have a faulty memory or if the film has been altered by the Mandela effect. Number 6. Peanuts is a comic strip that was created by Charles Schulz and was first published in 1950 in a newspaper called the St. Paul Pioneer Press, specifically in a weekly panel cartoon called Lil Folks. The comic's protagonist, Charlie Brown, was likened after Schulz himself, and his son later stated that each of the well-known characters had at least one of the cartoonist's characteristics. He added that while Charlie Brown was a close representation of Schulz, the boy's dog, Snoopy, was created as the kind of character that he wanted to be as a person. Over the years, the comic appeared an unbelievable 17,897 times, each one drawn by Schulz himself, and the last cartoon was published in 2000, one day after Schulz passed away. Schulz always intended for the comic's title to remain Lil Folks, but the United Feature Syndicate decided, while they were discussing the strip's publication, that it should be changed to Peanuts, since the original title closely resembled two others that were being published at that time. Schulz was none too pleased with this change, since he felt the new name made the comic seem insignificant. But this made little difference to fans, and it proved to be a massive success nonetheless. Through the years, readers became acquainted with the comic's characters, but not many people know that two of the lesser-known, Lucy and Linus, were later additions, since the original only featured Charlie Brown, Patty, and Shermie. After Linus was added to the lineup, he didn't have much to say as he remained silent for the first 2 years, only speaking up for the first time in 1954. Another character, a red-haired girl with whom Charlie Brown falls hopelessly in love with, wasn't fully seen in the strip at all, but was only revealed in 1977 in the TV special It's Your First Kiss, Charlie Brown. The comic proved so successful that it resulted in 45 TV specials being made, the first being A Charlie Brown Christmas, which aired in 1965. This special proved so successful that another 44 were produced, each being as popular as the last, and there's no doubt that it's considered one of the greatest cartoons ever created, despite being quite different from the cartoons that most of us are familiar with. Each of the cartoon's characters has their own role to play, and they're fondly remembered by those who used to read them and who watched the specials. But one special has created a lot of confusion as of late, since it's remembered differently by thousands of people. The special in question is called It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, which features a Halloween-inspired theme. It focuses on Linus, who finds out that he is the only one who truly believes in the Great Pumpkin, and he plans to spend the night in a pumpkin patch for its arrival. At one point, he believes that he spotted the pumpkin, but then realizes that he saw Snoopy instead. Much to the disbelief of many fans, the pumpkin never shows up, and this has now become the focus of a Mandela effect discussion. Thousands of people who've watched the special are adamant that the pumpkin does eventually arrive. They recall that it rises up out of the ground near the end of the episode, and they're struggling to find a reasonable explanation, other than that the show has been changed somehow. Number 5. If you were around in the late 90s, chances are you'll be familiar with the Danish-Norwegian band Aqua, which became all the rage after the release of their single Barbie Girl, which took the world by storm. The band was formed in 1988, and at the time was called Joy Speed, but most of the band's members thought that this wasn't the best choice for a name. They started discussing a possible replacement, but found it hard to come up with a suitable title. That is, until they found themselves in a studio and noticed a poster advertising a Danish aquarium. One of the band's members suggested changing the name to Aqua, and after the rest of the band agreed, the name was officially changed. When the band became a hit sensation, their vocalist was known to have a trademark tattoo on her right upper arm. It featured a long, multicolored bird, and many of the band's fans had the same tattoo added to their bodies, only to find out later that the singer's was a temporary tattoo that she put on her arm before live performances. She's contemplated having the tattoo done permanently, but she was dissuaded by her bandmates who suggested that because of her small stature, it wouldn't be a good fit since it was too extravagant. But every member has had the same tattoo added to their bodies, which is the Aqua Eye, that can be seen in the band's logo. When all the members got the tattoo, they decided to call that chapter of the band's history the end of Part 1. But the singer hasn't always had ambitions of being a famous musician. While growing up in a rural environment, she decided that she would do something different with her life. And so she decided to enter a competition in which a new hostess for a TV show would be chosen. She landed the part on Norway's version of Wheel of Fortune, and on the last episode she did some singing. She then decided to audition for the band and was eventually chosen as their singer. While the band had quite a few fans during the early and mid-90s, it was only when Barbie Girl was released that they saw real fame. Most people see the song as a bit of a novelty and fun, but the band has stated that it's also a commentary on society at the time. It focuses on the unrealistic expectations from society regarding women, and the fact that many people expect women to be perfect at all times, which is of course impossible, hence the lyrics about the perfect Barbie world. But it is, however, this very song that's now being spoken about as being changed thanks to the Mandela effect. Most of us would have heard this song hundreds of times, especially during its heyday, but it seems that many of us have a false memory of its lyrics. As with so many other songs, people have stated that they remember one set of lyrics, only to find out that they're mistaken. While some remember her singing, "I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world," others remember the line being, "I'm a Barbie girl in my Barbie world." But the actual lyrics are, "I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world." This suggests that there's just one Barbie world, not multiple, which doesn't change the meaning of the song per se, but has taken many people by surprise, since they've listened to the song so many times over the decades. Number 4. Jewel, the well-known singer and songwriter, whose full name is Jewel Kilcher, made her first big appearance in the music world when she released her debut album, Pieces of You, in February of 1995. It featured her first hit song, which was called Who Will Save Your Soul, which has, according to many fans, now become a part of the Mandela effect phenomenon. She had a head start as a musician since she grew up in a musical household while growing up in Utah, and started learning to play the guitar at an early age. It's also here that she learned how to properly compose her own songs. As soon as her debut album was released, she was met by a captive audience, and since then her career has flourished, resulting in as many as 27 million of her albums being sold around the world. She is, though, no one-trick pony, since she's also an accomplished poet and author who's published a number of books, one of which is an anthology of poetry called A Night Without Armor. While many solo artists fully rely on other musicians to write their songs for them, Jewel co-wrote every song on her debut album, which comes as no surprise, since she showed a talent for this kind of writing from an early age. Following her massive success as a musician, Jewel decided to help others by creating a charity called the Higher Ground for Humanity Foundation, which aims to help people become educated and to relieve conditions in poverty-stricken areas. The singer is married to a rodeo cowboy named Ty Murray, and the couple has one child that was born in 2011. She's collaborated with numerous artists from different genres, including Kid Rock and Dolly Parton. She's also expanded her singing career, appearing in TV shows and movies that include the films Ride with the Devil and Ring of Fire. She's also featured on the TV shows The Sing Off and the musical drama series called Nashville. Thanks to her musical abilities, she's won 4 Grammy Awards during her career, including 2 wins for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance, and 1 win each for Best New Artist and Best Female Country Vocal Performance. As for the Mandela effect in her music, it's said that the lyrics to the song Who Will Save Your Soul has been changed to Who Will Save Your Souls. To be fair, this is an easy mistake to make, given that the title of the song is singular, as opposed to the plural in the lyrics, but many people are convinced that this wasn't always the case. One person stated that they bought the album as soon as it came out, and listened to the song hundreds of times. He added that the song was always directed at a male, and hence asked the question, who will save your soul? But it now seems to be addressed to several people, since it speaks about souls instead. One man pointed out that the S at the end of souls is never pronounced strongly, and hence may just have gotten lost to some people, though he also remembers the lyrics excluding the S when he used to sing to it when he was younger. Others stated that the new lyrics make no sense, since they suggest that someone could have 2 souls, but most people agree that Jewel isn't speaking about one particular person in the song. But this has been refuted, since the chorus continues, after all those lies that you told, boy, now who will save your souls, leaving people more confused than they were before. Number 3. Some Mandela effect mysteries are easy to explain and are considered by many who follow the phenomenon to not be relevant cases, which is the case with the very famous song by Billy Joel called Piano Man, and once again it has to do with the song's lyrics. Joel himself is known to be a great piano player who started learning the instrument while he was a young boy, growing up in the Bronx in New York. Ironically, his first breakout song was Piano Man, and it's still very famous today, as it's still regularly played on the radio and continues to sell copies more than a half-century after it was released. But Joel is by no means a one-hit wonder. His career has spanned decades, and he continues to captivate audiences with his live performances. Throughout his career, he's produced an unbelievable 33 songs that made it into the top 40 in the US charts. As a result, he's received 23 Grammy Award nominations and has won 6 times. Following a remarkable career, he was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1992. And in 2013, he received the Kennedy Center honor for his contribution to American art and culture. He's also been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, proving without a doubt that he's one of the greatest artists of his generation, and in the opinions of some of his fans, the greatest of all time. Many of those fans list his album The Stranger as his greatest ever produced, since it contains the tracks Just the Way You Are and Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. His live performances are known to be high energy and highly entertaining, but in 2019, he announced that he would be retiring from touring altogether. This decision didn't last long though, as he soon started missing life on the road. He also realized that since he was over 70, he only had so much time to share his music with the world, and so he started touring once more. He will forever be remembered as an immensely talented singer and musician who is a household name in most countries. But there are some who remember his song Piano Man for a different reason, since they believe the Mandela effect has altered it. The song is about a piano player who regularly plays in a bar, and it describes some of the characters that he's met during his time there. There's a novelist named Paul, a sailor named Davy who serves in the Navy, and his friend John who gets his drinks, though he would rather be somewhere else. But the first person mentioned in the song is an elderly man who asks him to play a particular song that he can't remember. He states that he remembers it to be sweet and sad, having known it well when he was younger, but his memory has now failed him. When asking the piano player to play the song, many people recall the lyrics as being, "Son, can you play me a melody?" But this isn't how the song goes. The man actually asks, "Son, can you play me a memory?" And this revelation has left many people reeling. This is likely thanks to a later lyric that states we're all in the mood for a melody, though thousands of people believe that the original lyrics have been changed, despite the song still making perfect sense, if not more so, when they find out that they're mistaken. Number 2. The famous actor Abe Vigoda is best remembered for the 1972 film The Godfather, which is still considered to be one of the best gangster movies ever made. But his career didn't start on the big screen. Vigoda first worked as an actor on the stage, performing in Shakespearean plays, comedies, and musicals in theaters on Broadway and in other parts of the country. Although The Godfather was undoubtedly his big break into the industry, he continued to see success in his career after the fact, as he landed an iconic role in the 1975 sitcom Barney Miller, in which he played Detective Fish, a grumpy man who was constantly suffering from one medical ailment or another. Following a dispute over his salary, he eventually left the show, but continued to make occasional guest appearances. But he would, however, star in a spin-off of the show called Fish, though this show focused largely on the character's personal life. He also continued to perform on the stage during his newfound fame in The Godfather, and could be seen acting in the play Tough to Get Help, which was created by Carl Reiner. It also starred John Amos, who's best known for his role in the sitcom Good Times. In 1974, he would reprise his role in The Godfather 2, and again that movie saw a huge amount of success. In 1976 though, Vigoda stated that he wasn't satisfied with the salary that he was receiving on Barney Miller, and he started skipping rehearsals. This led to a lawsuit being filed against him, and he would eventually decide to part ways with the show, since he felt that his role on the show had become much bigger than it was before, and hence should receive a bigger salary. Before this matter was settled, there was more strife between Vigoda and the show's producer, when he started appearing in a show called 79 Park Avenue. Vigoda accused the producer of intentionally shifting the Barney Miller and Fish recording schedules, so that he would be forced to drop out of the third show. Luckily, that show would turn out to be less successful, and many people think it would have been a mistake for Vigoda to remain on the cast anyway. In modern times, Vigoda is remembered for his role in the Godfather movies, but he's also part of the Mandela effect phenomenon. When it was announced on the 26th of January, 2016 that he'd passed away from natural causes, this took many people by surprise, since they were under the impression that he'd passed away long before that. One man stated that he has a distinct memory of Vigoda passing away in 2008. He even remembers being at a college when he heard the news, since it made him feel sad that the quintessential grandfather figure, who he'd grown so accustomed to, would no longer be appearing on his screen. Furthermore, he remembers the actor passing away after a battle with cancer, and was surprised to learn that he'd never had the disease. In an effort to explain his false memories, many people pointed out that Vigoda was the subject of many internet jokes about his age, and in some instances it was suggested in jest that he'd passed away. Others suggested that his passing may have gone unnoticed by the poster, since many celebrities lost their lives that particular year, causing the news of their passing to go under many people's radars. Number 1. One would think that there isn't much about Adolf Hitler that we don't know, since he had such a huge impact on the world's history. Today, he's considered to be one of the worst human beings that ever lived, but during his time, many people regarded him as a visionary, albeit for all the wrong reasons. Hitler served in World War I and II, and at the time of his demise in 1945, he was wearing the Iron Cross medal that he received during the First World War, since he believed he should be considered a hero for his role in that war. He stated that he'd been wounded while fighting at the First Battle of Somme, which took place in 1916. But this has been refuted by many people, as it's come to light that he was likely serving as a runner during that time and saw very little action. He also claimed to have suffered temporary blindness due to a mustard gas attack during that conflict, but it was later discovered that he was suffering from a condition that's called hysterical blindness. As for the medal that he so proudly wore, it's believed that he received it thanks to a lengthy service in the military, since no records exist of him performing any actual acts of bravery. Others think that he was merely popular with some of the officers and hence he was given a medal. Despite all of this, he was elected as Chancellor of Germany in 1933, and he started paving the way for his reign of terror as a dictator. One of his ideals was to create a perfect human race, which he called Aryan. This involved promoting a healthy lifestyle, and it's thought that this is the reason for him being a vegetarian, who didn't consume alcohol and who didn't smoke. Though it is believed that he suffered from an addiction to illegal substances. For many decades, people have pointed out Hitler's hypocritical nature, since he was attempting to create a race of people that had blonde hair and blue eyes, when he himself had brown hair and brown eyes. But the truth is that while he did indeed have brown hair, he actually had pale blue eyes, a feature that many people refuse to believe has always been the case, since they have no memory of ever seeing him with blue eyes. But this is of course easily explained, since most photos of Hitler are in black and white, and hence would not have shown his true eye color. Some people have stated that they clearly remember learning in school that Hitler had brown eyes, and that they were appalled at the fact that he didn't resemble his ideal race by any means. Others think that he really did have brown eyes, but that this fact has now been altered by the Mandela effect phenomenon. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But my name is Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.